When I was a very young boy, we lived in a house that had a beehive in the wall. I became deathly afraid of them. We were on vacation with my family. We hit one of the local bookshops and they happened to have a book on beekeeping. And as I started to read through it, I realized they are absolutely interesting. Did a little more reading and ultimately took a beekeeping class at Rutgers. I became a beekeeper more for the education portions of it, as well as to have something to do with my family. There are 3 types of bees. There's the queen bee. There's usually 1 per colony. The bulk of the work that is done, whether it's collecting food, cleaning out the hive, or rearing the eggs all the way up through the brood cycle, those are worker bees. But the queen needs to have male bees to wind up doing her job, so those are actually called drone bees. Bees wind up having 2 types of food that they get from plants. There's pollen and nectar. So they need the pollen to come on through, and for me that happens to come from most of the agricultural fields that are nearby. And then nectar is what is used to make honey. They fly to the flower, they wind up getting pollen that sticks to their legs, and they'll fly to the next flower, and some of the pollen that's on their legs will bump into that. Bees do provide important tasks for us. A key part of the agricultural environment, farmers will actually rent colonies of bees. They get placed into the fields at the right time for the crop to be pollinated, and they wind up having a better yield from their acreage. There's what's called the nuke or a nucleus colony. So an existing beekeeper will split a hive that's doing really well and populate a much smaller box to start that nucleus off and running. So the next most common way is actually buying 3-pound packages of bees, which will come with 3 pounds of worker bees, and there's a queen that's also included, and they will ship it to you through the US Postal Service. There's about 10,000 bees inside of that package. As spring starts to provide more food sources for them, queen begins laying more and more eggs, and it could grow to 80,000 bees per colony. There's a lot of equipment that you could bring in as a beekeeper, but the very basics that you need to start with is called the woodenware. You need to have a box to house the colony. So I've got 6 of them here in the backyard, and each of them has a bottom board. So that just is used to sit on a platform. It's a little bit raised up off of the ground. After that, you then have a deep box, which is where the brood winds up staying. So that's where the bees get raised. If the season is going well and your bees are healthy and able to bring in nectar, you add smaller boxes on top of that. Those are the ones that you actually collect honey from. It starts with the worker bees collecting nectar, and it's actually exchanged to another worker, and they're mixing their enzymes in with the nectar. Eventually, they will deposit that into the honeycomb, and the rest of the workers will spend time basically evaporating the moisture out of that nectar, and it eventually turns into liquid gold. It turns into honey. Most people will just cut the cappings off, and those get saved into a bin, and that's what you use to make the lip balm or the candles.
Welcome to the 2019 Philadelphia Honey Festival at Glenford.
I am the head beekeeper at a farm that's north of the city. The reason why I became one was basically to kind of facilitate this bridge between the natural world and the people of the city. Bees, they work for the betterment of the whole. Everything they do is this perfect balance. They give so much. I mean, whether it's honey, the propolis, you can make medicine, you can make salves, these pleasurable things like food. I think that's what I love about them. They give without asking for anything. That kind of relationship they have, I feel like I can take that into my city life when I'm walking down the street, realizing that together we're working to make this community balanced, positive place. And bees, they do that. So when I work in a hive, I try to think of that in the back of my head. And bees are fascinating. They're amazing.
I'm Shirley.
And I'm Regina Mitchell. For more videos like this, subscribe to WHYY.